Yeah.
Recording right now too. It's hearing everything you're saying. I told you I like getting singing eventually. That's gonna make the cut, by the way.
I was going fishing with Billy Lawson today.
Oh,
Hey, there he is over there.
what's up? Welcome back to Your Lake Fork Guide. Maybe the best intro we'll ever have, no matter how long I do this YouTube channel, right there. So we are here for another edition of East Texas Bass Stories. And I figured you guys might be tired of listening to me talk. So I went and found a couple, probably, maybe the two biggest knuckleheads I've ever known. Mr. Ronnie Kelly, Captain Ron, and Austin Wright.
Hey.
So Austin is Ronnie Kelly's tournament partner. They are business partners. They spend a lot of time together. And they've got a very interesting story about the first time they met. I guess we'll call this the beginning of a lifelong partnership.
Well, first time we met was March 2006, 2007, something like that.
Yeah.
I was fishing every day, probably 250 days a year in Tyler, fishing Lake Palestine and Lake Tyler only. And so I'm on them at Lake Tyler, and I'm out of lures. And so the only place I can find these lures is Gander Mountain.
Yeah, and I worked at Gander Mountain at the time, and I'd have a lot of people come in and tell me about these giants they were catching and how great they were and how big they were, and everybody's caught 10-pounders every day. And Ronnie was no different. He showed up, but the only different thing with him that I noticed is he grabbed 5 BDS-3 crankbaits that are about $20 a piece. And at that time when I was working at Gander Mountain, I could never imagine having that much money to spend on crankbaits. So I thought maybe he was for real. So I kind of challenged him on it. I pushed him. I asked him about it. I'll tell you about that.
So he starts asking me, and he's questioning me, and he sounds like he doesn't believe me. Well, for those of you guys that know me at all, I don't like that. I don't want to be questioned. I don't want somebody to act like I don't know what I'm talking about. So he throws it out. Hey, man, why don't you take me fishing? And at the time, let me explain this. I didn't take anybody other than my tournament partner fishing. Ever, no exceptions. And here we go, tall, scrawny kid working at Gander Mountain, and he's calling me out. And so, challenge accepted. I told him, hey, let's go in the morning. I'll pick you up here at 6 o'clock, and we'll go. And we went.
Yeah, so what he guaranteed that we'd have 35 pounds by 7:30. And I thought that was pretty bold.
30 pounds. I said 30 pounds.
30 pounds. 30
I said, we'll
pounds.
catch 30 pounds in the first hour of the morning.
Right.
Is what I said.
And we pulled up the spot, and about 20 minutes in, we had about 7-pounders.
Yeah.
In the
They're
boat?
6 to 8 pound fish. We had, in the first hour of the morning, within an hour, because we were off the water in probably an hour and a half.
Yeah.
And within the first hour, we had 7 fish between 6 to 8 pounds.
Yeah.
Cranking, and we threw a jig a little bit and all that. And you didn't believe me at all.
No.
Not a chance that this is real. But it went down. And so we leave the lake.
And I had to get back on, because after him doing that, he kind of took the power position, so I had to get back above him. So I started talking a little crap about the size of fish, because he said he'd never caught a double digit before. And I was talking about some of the fish I was catching. He kind of did the same thing to me, and just didn't think I was catching these fish. So we went out to a little place I have and did a little night fishing that night. Same day, caught 35 pounds, roughly 35 pounds that morning, and then went out there to see if we could catch a big one. And we get there, pull up. I said, hey, line up. We had a little brush pile of fish, and it's kind of open. He set the hook. This fish starts coming to him. We flop him on the boat, and biggest fish I've seen.
Yeah, fish jumps.
Yeah.
Full moon, fish jumps. I've got a big 10-inch worm on. I set the hook. This fish is running, and he's telling me all these stories about giant bass and all this. And My biggest fish to that date, my biggest fish was a 9.98 that I caught in the tournament at Lake Tyler that died on me.
Right.
And so I haven't broke the 10.00 mark, and he goes, throw out there. So I throw the big worm out there, and I set the hook, and the fish goes to running. And so because it was a full moon, we could kind of see her. You remember?
But you could see her, you could tell she was big, but
you couldn't tell.
You didn't know how big. And I don't think we ever really knew how big she was. I think both of us probably assumed she was an 8, 9,
she was a big
maybe
fish,
a 10-pound fish.
But you don't know.
Yeah.
So he gets the net and he nets his fish and he lays it. Now, here's the deal. It's dark. We're at a lake with houses all over it. And it's not, and you just laid this monster of a bass. And you know when you lay them, you guys, if you've ever caught one of these big old fat pre-spawn girls, you can just picture the way I'm laying on my side and that belly gets out. And that's probably one of my wife's very favorite things about me is my profile when I lay on my side.
Mine too.
And so we lay this fish on her side, and I'm talking about her belly's out to here. It's unbelievable. And we freak, and we start screaming as loud as we can.
She had a dicky do.
She had the old dicky do, the old dumpling belly.
Yeah.
And so, to make a long story short, just full disclosure, we really don't know how much she weighed.
Yeah, so I had a scale. It was the oldest scale. It was actually one of the old old school spring scales. And that fish bottomed out, and she was right over 13 pounds. And so 13, I think she was 13.3, 13.4. And so we were very confident she was over 13 pounds. Well, then we loaded that fish up and we drove it in to get it registered, or to see if it was a share lunker, and we put it on another scale. And at that point, we were nervous about hurting the fish. We weighed her, and the scale was bounced back and forth. She was like 13.2, and then right at 12, and went back above, but she flatlined right at that 13 mark.
So that was the first day we ever, or not the first day we met, but that was the first day we hung out. We've been best friends ever since. He went off to the Middle East to become a multi-millionaire oil guy.
Oh, yeah.
And, then, and so now he's back.
But I still can't afford BDS 3 crankbaits.
So that's a pretty cool fishing story. And just for reference, I have had a 13.3 in my boat while I was guiding at Falcon Lake, and I've had a 12.0. I've had several 12-pounders and a bunch of 10 and 11-pounders. So full disclosure, that fish was easily 12.5 to 13.5 pounds without 100%.
And I still haven't broke the 11-pound mark. I still haven't even got a 12. So I had to watch this guy do it.
That's all right.
You'll listen to it for years.
Well, there you go, guys. There's today's East Texas bass story from a couple of good buddies that are pretty dang funny, if you ask me. So, hope y'all enjoyed that part of it. I certainly did. Top 5 baits to help you guys out this weekend. First thing is sight fishing. You guys know when I'm sight fishing, that's my #1 go-to right there. So as you guys see, my kids just got home. Say hi to them, Ty.
Hi.
Yep, Ty just pulled in from school while I was filming this. So, anyways, top 5 baits. #1, the Hyper Freak. That's my #1 bed fishing bait, sight fishing bait. That's my favorite right there.
Hey.
Hey, what?
I want to play with fishing baits.
Play with them.
These ones?
I don't care.
Whoa.
Play with it. Another Hyper Freak right there.
Can I show it to the camera?
Show it. There it is, Hyper Freak. Okay.
I'll be careful with that one.
That's okay. You can play with that, buddy. It's fine. #2. Bait #2. Watch out. Watch out. Watch out. #2 is the Smash Tech Custom Bait Smash Stick. Old stick bait, and we're wacky rigging it now. When they get on beds and I'm just blind casting with this, I like to wacky rig it. Once I know I've got a lot of fish on beds, I seem to catch them better on the wacky style. Third is, a ribbit style type frog. This is a Zoom horny toad. Lake Fork Tackle makes one called Lake Fork Tackle Frog. Ribbit makes a good one. I actually use all 3 because all 3 of them have a completely different leg kick. This Zoom is the most subtle leg kick. And in some of the less grassy areas that I'm fishing right now, I need that more subtle action, so that's why we're using that one lately. But I will also use the Ribbit and the Lake Fork Tackle Frog as well. Now it's time to get serious on our top 5 baits. This is the new swim bait from Smash Tech. This will be the Headhunter. And it's 7-inch class, just like the Convict. Again, we're rigging that on a 10-aught hook as well, throwing it weightless. This one you do not have to lead strip. It runs really true with just the hook. I actually still do lead strip it though. That way you know, if my hook alignment is off just a little bit and it's my fault, it'll still run true. So I'm just not the greatest at lining up those hooks real straight, so I'll still lead strip that hook for that 7-inch headhunter. Next is the last one for today is the 6th Flow Glider. This is a smaller profile glide bait, but it is a great glide bait. This thing has an awesome action. It gets a lot of bites. I've caught them 2 at a time on this bait before. It's just a tremendous glide bait. Works really well. Right now is a great time. There's so many big fish up shallow, and anytime there's that many big fish, as shallow as they are, and you got pretty clear water, which right now we've got good water clarity on Fork, especially on the southern end of the lake, those big swim baits are a great option if you want to go for less bites, but really focus on catching a big fish. These 2 baits right here are a great way to go about doing it. 6-inch Flow Glider, Smash Tech Headhunter. Get after some of those big, giant Lake Fork bass. Right?
Right.
So we appreciate you guys watching Your Lake Fork Guide as always. We hope you enjoyed it. What do y'all want to tell the people before we turn the camera off?
Set the hook.
Set the hook. That's a good one. What about you, Eli?
Thanks for talking to us.
Thanks for talking to us right here on Your Lake Fork Guide. We'll see you next time.
Yeah.
Got her. That's a good. Oh, get off that tree. There you go, Ronnie Kelly.
I pierced her nose hole.
Hey,
I'm not even going to charge her for it. That's like $20 at the mall. I thought it was bigger. Actually,
that might be the male. That's the male.
That's not her.
That's a good one, dude.
Oh, 5 pounder? 5 pounder.
Hang on. There you go, guys. You even caught a few fish today. What about that?
Man, we caught some good ones on beds.
Yeah.
This is kind of a neat deal. You know, the moon's about to get full. We're about 4 days away from the peak of that. So sitting in that cove, watching those fish swim in, that was pretty fun.
Yeah. Okay. I mean, I know we really didn't. We were just kind of trying to get some fish catches on camera to go along with the stories episode, but we didn't really break a lot down. But what's going on there is literally, we're watching them come in. Like that big one that I caught there.
She wasn't there an hour and a half, 2 hours ago.
She wasn't there, and then while I was fishing for her, we're watching other fish swim up and look at her bed and then move out. And there was fish in there bigger than her. That wasn't the biggest fish in that bed. So it is crazy. It is not over at Fork. I know I've been hearing some people talk about the spawn's over. Is it over?
No, it's not over.
These fish are
I think it's about
brand.
to get good.
Yeah, these fish are brand new. The northern end of the lake, yeah, it's mostly post spawn, but we're down here to mid lake to the south end, and it is on gets right now. So get out here to Lake Fork. Holler at your boy Ronnie Kelly when you see him. Tell him he's a knucklehead because he
Holler at
is.
Captain.
Oh, Captain Ron. What do you call it, Captain Ron's?
Captain Ron's Big Bass Guided Excursions for the big, illustrious Big Lip Mouth on Lake Fork, Lake Palestine, Lake Athens, Lake Tyler, Ray Earl's Pond, and his private lake I gotta blindfold you to take you to.
Charters.
Charters.com.
Charters.com.
Yep. And if you don't type it exactly like that, you get dirty videos. So make sure you get that right. It's crazy.
I really have to work on the quality of friends in my life. We appreciate you guys joining us here on Your Lake Fork Guide. Hope those 5 baits helped you out. Hope you enjoyed the story, and I know you enjoyed the fish catching because we dang sure did. Guys, thank you. Austin, thank you so much for bringing me out. R. Kelly,
as always.
Holler at your boy. If you need a guide trip this summer, we're booked up through May, but if you need a guide trip this summer, fall, winter, even next spring, you want to book one, give me a call. You want to go to Lake Palestine, holler at Ronnie. They'll all be linked below. one more thing. Can't always almost forget something. Bassbuck.com. Make sure you guys are going to bassbuck.com. Sign up, make 10 posts, get a chance to win $500 gift card to Cabela's. So go over to bassbuck.com. I'm over there. Ronnie, you over there?
I'm there, baby.
Ronnie's over there. If you want to come holler at us on a forum type atmosphere, hit us up at bassbuck.com, and we will see you guys next time right here.
I think you should sing us out.
I'm not opposed. Who you going fishing with today?
But I'm going fishing with Billy Lawson today.
We have a theme song now. We'll see you next time.
You can just picture the way I'm laying on my side and that belly gets out. And that's probably one of my wife's very favorite things about me is my profile when I lay on my side.
Mine too.
Booty hole, camel toe, slap that booty on that hole, slap that booty. Well, I'm going fishing with Billy Lawson today.